On sort of, I guess, the squads, how is Josh?
Yeah, obviously Josh failed the HIA the other night. No, as a category one, which means that he'll miss 12 days. So he'll miss this week. But health wise, is he's okay. He's up and moving. He's been training with us, so he's in a good place.
That's really good to hear. Before we kind of ask you a couple about this Saturday, just reports online about Matty Moylan perhaps considering retirement, and I think the Telegraph have written that up as well. Is there anything you can sort of tell us about that and about his future with the league?
No, not really. I think the timing of it isn't good in the sense of it being. I think it came out last Friday before our Salford game. So, if it is Matty's last hurrah to say, we'll deal with that as it happens. But as we speak at the moment, there's nothing there yet.
Okay, cool. Thank you, mate.
Okay.
So on Saturday then, firstly, the Battle of the Borough again. How are you feeling about facing Wigan?
Yeah, pretty excited about it. Obviously, we only have to travel down the road, being our neighbours. But I think just in the season in general, to finish in the top six and win that first semi-final has been an incredible journey for everyone involved. We feel like we're not finished yet. We've had a lot of injuries during the season, a few more through HIA obviously last week, but it seems like it's been the whole season's been disrupted in some way. So we're quite used to that, but in the sense of the importance of the game, I think our last couple of months have been really consistent, so we're excited about going over there and playing our best rugby.
I think you said before that with how the season panned out, saying how it started, and with all those injuries as well, that coming in this far would be your, as a head coach, one of your sort of greatest ever achievements. And you're one win away from making it to the grand final.
Yeah, it's interesting. We haven't had much to cheer about it, Lee, over the history would show, but I think the fans have got a real strong voice at the moment. They've loved every week where they've been able to come here and support their team and watch their team more than often win. And we've got a lot of confidence as a group at the moment. Obviously, playing against probably the informed team over the last 2 years, and it's a challenge that everyone's looking forward to.
Speaking to Matt P yesterday, sort of saying that on you guys that he is not surprised that you've reached the final four. Are you?
No, I'm not surprised at all. I've always felt that it's in us. We probably should have finished fourth last year before the finals had we not lost an important game here to Wigan, which was very close and controversial. But I think, how we've developed this year as a team, especially we've given a lot of players that probably wouldn't have played as much time, a lot of experience to help us. I feel we've got some players in here with that experience of the big game matches. So, I think travelling to Wigan now would certainly cap off the season if we were to go there and have a really strong 80-minute performance.
And just finally, on the squads, and you mentioned there sort of the younger players as well that you've given more chances to this season. Do you think that's been sort of the main difference between this year and last year in terms of how you finished the Super League last season compared to this one?
Yeah, well, the season's been completely in reverse this season to last. At the end of last year, I think we had something like 6 of our starting 13 players injured for the last quarter of the year. So, that wasn't ideal for us too. And it's difficult to win when you're missing 1 or 2 players, let alone a quarter of your squad. So, the way that we finished this season has certainly been on our terms. I know the group are connected. I understand that they're all working hard for each other, and we're at another level than we were even halfway through the season. So, we've certainly earned the rights to be here on Saturday night and to travel to Wigan to be one of the greatest challenges of this club's and one of the most important games in this club's history.
Well, good luck, mate. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Alex. Appreciate it.
Hi, Adrian. Hope
Drew,
you're well.
I'm well, you?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well.
Okay.
Obviously, no Josh this week. There's also no Frankie Holton. Who are the names? Who are the players that will be in contention to come in and replace those guys?
Yeah, there's a couple of boys obviously that's in contention. Obviously, you've got Bailey Hodgson and Keenan Brown, Ben McNamara as well as in that bench position. We can shuffle players out. It's a situation where we've got to make sure what suits us best. Zach Hardacre's there. With back rowers, you've got Ollie Holmes, who's available, Jack Hughes. Zach played in the back row last week. So there's a couple of different ways we can go about it. So, we'll settle with that as this week unfolds.
Yeah, Kai O'Donnell missed the game last week. Is he good to go come back in? I think he was an ever-present leading into last week, so I bet he was good to miss the game.
Yeah, I think he's been one of the best players in Super League and probably deserves to be in that dream team, in my opinion, in that back row position. But, with Kai, we're going to give him right up until kick-off to be available to see where he sits. He's got to see a specialist at the end of the week, so all that's in front of us yet. So, bit of a disrupted week for the group, but with Frankie Holton, Kai O'Donnell, and obviously Josh Charnley. So we'll manage that day to day as we go along.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Aaron Penney as well. It seemed like he enjoyed probably his best game in a League shirt last week.
Yeah, I'd agree. It was always going to take Aaron, 10 weeks plus to find his feet here, and we're coming towards the end of the season now with 2 games to go, but I think, he'll certainly have a really strong off-season. I'm really looking forward to how he delivers early in the next year. I think it'll be a sensation once he gets confident about Super League and knows his place within this group here. But yeah, it was certainly his best game, and it's exactly what we need from him at this time of the year.
Yeah, Matt Pete spoke to the press yesterday. Was very complimentary towards you, Adrian, and your side, and how the Leopards have gone this season.
Yeah.
You're obviously very familiar with that Wigan team. I know that there's been a couple of changes since you were there, but how do you go about sort of not stopping Bevan French and Jay Field, because I know it's pretty much impossible to take them out of the game completely, but how do you minimise that?
Yeah, I think that's obviously a lot of the teams are playing it. Those 2 names keep coming up, but I think it's everyone else in there as well that they're probably the best defensive team in the competition. So we've got to make sure that we execute our plays as well, and we've created a lot of opportunities in the past that we haven't been able to execute them and ice off opportunities. So that's something that we're working hard on. But in regards to those 2, I think we've just got to make sure we keep the pressure on them. And everyone keeps moving. They've got that X factor about them, and as you've seen every year, they can turn any game on its head in one play or 1 second. The ball hits the ground, and it's in one of their hands, and then something happens from it. So we're aware of the dangers there, but we're going to do our best to make sure we minimise those opportunities.
Good stuff, and the Warriors obviously go into the game as favourites to take the Super League crown. Is that something that you as a club, Adrian, are quite comfortable with, sort of having the pressure off, going into it with the underdogs tag, if you like?
Yeah, I think that they probably have the right to be favourites going in. Like I said, they've been the probably formed team in the competition over the last 2 years. It's also a very difficult task for anyone coming outside of the top 2 to break that, though it's happened in the past, to break that game and get a win. We're going to go there as a confident team and give our absolute best, and we'll see what happens after 80 minutes. But I know the team will be connected. I know we need to play a little bit better than what we've done over the last second half of the season. It's a big game mentality, and we're 80 minutes away from Old Trafford, so it's going to take something special.
Yeah, and just the last one from me. A lot of the players have sort of referenced the last dance, because a lot of players are leaving the club at the end of the season. Does that add more motivation going into this week to make sure it's not those guys' last games this week? Hopefully it'll be next week at Old Trafford.
Yeah, I think it all plays a part emotionally with the season, and it hopefully plays a part tomorrow night. The boys want it to be on their terms when it ends, and I think more importantly than that, we've just got to make sure that we've got clarity on how we want to play and try and defend the threats, and obviously take our opportunities. It's always bigger than an emotional connection. There's gonna be some big moments in the game where you'll see French and Field potentially in a position to change the game, and we've just got to keep turning up and making sure we win those big moments. So, I'm looking forward to that. That's what will separate the 2 teams on Saturday night.
Good man, Adrian. I'll pass one. All the best for Saturday.
Appreciate it.
Hi, Adrian. Martin here.
Martin.
Good to see you.
You too, mate.
You know, who would have thought we'd have been talking to you at this stage of the season a few months ago, mate? In fact, I did, because if you look back, I wrote at the time that you were going to make a strong surge in the second half of the season. So I do claim some credit for that. Just looking at this game, are you glad to be playing at Wigan rather than at Hull KR? Because the good thing about being at Wigan is that you took 4,000 fans to Salford, and you wouldn't have been able to do that at Hull KR, but at Wigan, presumably you can take as many as you want. And hopefully 4,000 and more.
I think firstly, you know, we're not bothered really about where we go and play. It is what it is. I think in Super League, the top two team, I'm not sure if it's the fairest advantage, but you get the week off, then you get a home semi-final, and that doesn't happen in any sport anywhere around the world. And I've been in that position at Wigan where we've had the home semi. I've been grateful of that, but I think it probably should be a neutral ground to decide who goes into the final. But having said that, I think again, how these finals get sorted with fans, and that's been quite an eye-opener for me and the club, in the sense of how the tickets get distributed. So whether you can only get 1,100 there at Hull KO or 5,000 at Wigan, I mean, it's just a vast, you know, difference between how you can be given different tickets at different grounds. But that's not for me to. I've got an important game to worry about. But I think that needs to change some way or another. But in regards to performance-wise, I think you've got to beat both teams anyway from our position to win the whole Super League. So it didn't matter really where we had to go to get this done.
I think Leeds have won it in the past from 5th place under this system, so it's not totally unprecedented.
Yeah, I think they have, and there may have been one other than that, but you know, it's just there's two advantages there with a week off and a home game. I mean, even in the NRL, they don't have that home game advantage unless it's a game that's been previously booked in at that particular ground, and you're lucky enough to be in that game. So, you know, I'm sure it's something the RFL can look at in the future, but you know, my concern isn't that at the moment, or the fans as in numbers. You know, we're playing at Wigan. We've got a really good fan base there. The atmosphere at Salford last week from both sets of fans was I think I made a comment that it's best in the world. When the atmosphere and both ends are singing their songs for 80 minutes and even 30 minutes prior to kick-off, it's just unbelievable. And I think it'll be a very similar atmosphere at Wigan there. I think it'll be as close to sold-out stadium, I think 24,000, whatever it is. Hopefully both teams can keep going with fans to get there and just show our sport and how great it is at this time of the year.
Thought against Salford, Adrian, you gave a terrific defensive performance. Didn't let them in until, I think it was 77 minutes or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Kept them out in the first half, which was really, really important. But you're going to have to do that against Wigan and more besides, I think. You know, that even that level probably might not be enough against Wigan. And if I know Wigan, which I think I do reasonably well, they're going to come out at you and try and score a couple of tries in the first 10 minutes. They'll try and put the game to bed as soon as they possibly can. So from your point of view, it's going to be so important, that first 10 or 15 minutes, because they'll be looking to shatter your confidence, especially when they know that you've got one or two key players missing who, would normally be there for you. So it's hard to emphasise sufficient, isn't it? You can't give away penalties. You can't allow yourself to be tackled into touch, which they're very good at doing.
Yes.
You know, these kick-offs, and they descend on wingers and bundle them into touch and so on. It's going to be a real big ask, but if you can survive 15 or so, you're in with a great chance.
Yeah, I think that it's probably be the opinion of a lot of rugby league fans around the UK, Martin, and maybe around the world. You know, I don't think too many people have given us a chance. Like it's been the sort of the feel for the whole season. You know, that we weren't going to make the 6, that we're in the 6 now. We're not going to win the semi. That we're in the top, and in the last 4. There's been challenges everywhere, and there'll be no bigger challenge than this weekend. And you're exactly right. You know, we've probably got to play our best game of the season and some. But I think the players are in a position that understand that. You know, you don't make grand finals by fluking it. You've got to make sure that, you know, we're connected as a group. We get that start right, and I think if we go there with the right attitude, which I know we will, you know, get to halftime in good shape. You never know what could happen.
Well, most people said AJ would beat Daniel Dubois, and it went precisely the opposite way, didn't it? So, that's a great precedent for you, I think, that fight.
Yeah, I think.
If you like boxing.
Yeah, I think, we've using boxing as a reference. We've been on the canvas a few times this season, and we found a way to get off it and stand up and get through the parts and not be knocked out. So, the team showed a lot of character and resilience through the season, and we've earned the right to be here, and we'll get what we deserve on Saturday night.
Can I just make one final point? I was a bit surprised, to say the very least, when I saw the nominations for Coach of the Year coming out yesterday, to see your name being notable by its absence, to be honest. I was amazed, quite frankly, to see that. Is somebody trying to give you motivation here? So,
it seems
if I were you or the players, I'd be really amazed by that, to be honest.
To be honest, Martin, it didn't bother me 1 millimetre, not 1 millimetre. And it's reflected everything else that's happened this season in rugby league here. But, it's hard to get it 3 times when you've got it 2 times in the last 4 years. So it's hard to get it a third time, isn't it?
Okay, mate. That's great. Thanks very much.
No worries,
good luck on Saturday, Adrian.
Thank you, Martin.
Cheers.
Hi, Adrian. Can I jump in for a quick one?
Yeah.
Oh,
who
sorry,
we got
Callum,
there, Josh?
sure.
Yeah.
Sorry, Callum, you can go first, mate.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Alright, cheers, mate. Thank you. Hi, Adrian. How are you doing?
Callum, good. You?
Yeah, good. Thank you. What's actually wrong with Kai O'Donnell? Was it a spleen issue or something?
No, there's nothing wrong with his spleen. He's just got a whack in behind his ribs, so he's got bruised ribs, and it's bruised his kidney as well. So yeah, we've just waiting to get a second opinion on a specialist at the back end of the week.
That must have been a big bang for him.
Yeah, he's a tough player, and he's the ultimate professional. I question if there's anyone more professional than him in the game in Super League over here. So it's obviously not sat well with him, and it's one that's got him right at the last minute of the game against St Helens. So it is what it is at the moment. We're working really hard to try and get through that, but we'll see how that pans out.
We saw you after the game get quite emotional. Would you say this is the best bond of a team that you've ever experienced?
Was I emotional after the game?
Just a bit.
Yeah, I think I was just excited and happy. I think I just was really proud of the team, the way that we got bombarded in that first 40 minutes, and we it was like we're under the water and they had a foot on us and trying to drown us, and there was just a little bit of air coming to the top there before we were all out, and we just hung in there, and the way that we how resilient we were, and then just got that opportunity in that second half and just went bang, 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 and it was all over. And I think after the game, I just couldn't believe how they did that as a group, and we hadn't had that, onslaught against us for 40 minutes for the whole season. And, just the strength of the group and the belief within there just gave me so much pride that, and to have that atmosphere there and for them to do it in front of all of those fans at Travel was a really special moment for me and the players and the club, the town. We haven't been in the Super League top 4 ever, and I think it's only our third top 4 semi-final spot since the club's inception in the late 1800s. So it's an incredible feat from everyone, and whilst we have enjoyed that moment at Salford, we've certainly come back down to earth now and making sure that we go to Wigan with that opportunity now, and give it our best shot.
Thank you, Adrian. Good luck.
Thanks,
at
Al.
the weekend.
Hi, Adrian. Yeah, just a really quick one, just to finish it off, if that's okay. Hope you're well.
Good, very well.
Good stuff. Just wanted to ask you on that, Pete. Obviously, you worked with him at Wigan. Are you anywhat surprised at how he's taken on the reins of head coach and the successes that he's enjoyed across just 3 years?
No, it's a professional club, obviously, and the systems they have set up there with Chris Radlinski and the new owner coming in now as well. There's a lot of backing there and a lot of support and a lot of drive, and they've got a great junior base there, and they probably bring through any more juniors than everybody else. They've got some great assistant coaches there with Matty in Sean O'Loughlin and Tommy Lillawai, who have been the bloodline of the club as well. So, everything's in place for them. I think the players that's now available to them, I mean, they've spent more money than probably any other club in Super League this year, and with that comes a really big squad and pressure on players to play well and to perform. So I think everything's fallen in line with them. You know, they're World Club holders at the moment, and it seems that the club's going to be in a really good place over the next 5 to 10 years. So there's no surprises there at all. We're excited to be in probably our club's biggest game in the history of our club this Saturday night, albeit with our neighbours up the road. You know, it's a, you know, I think at one stage there they had the Super League Cup and we had the Challenge Cup both in the Wigan Borough, which was an incredible feat to be part of that Lancashire success last year. But you know, like I said, we've earned the right to be here. I think our players are playing confident at the moment. It's going to take a little bit more than what we've done, we're aware of, and we're prepared to deliver that on Saturday night.
Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly, you mentioned that there's going to be stars all over the field, and you mentioned Wigan's youth and those coming through, and Bevan French and Jay Field have been talked about. But Harry Smith seems to always step up when he's on these big stages. Is he someone that you've also got to be wary of? It's not just, you know, the names that often take the headlines.
Yeah, I think there's a number of them. I mean, that's the thing when you look across the Wigan 17 or at least 13, and you know, who do you take care of there? You know, they've got the leading try scorer on the left hand side. You know, Wardle's probably the best centre in Super League at the moment. They've got Junior and Semba, who will be the young player of the year, who's probably playing better than anybody else. Then you got Harry Smith. You know, and that's just the start. You know, when you look everywhere on their side, they've got a great squad and a great team, and when they play together as one, they're hard to beat. So, you know, it's not just about French and Field, as everyone's saying. I think they reap the rewards off the back of the hard work from the majority of the other guys, but there's certainly other players there that can turn the game if we haven't got our focus.